Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Theoni with Thrifty Divas. It's very early. I have to go to the doctor for my medicine in a little while and I don't want to go. But anyway, I can't believe it's been a month since I went last time. But anyway, I'm not doing so great. Let me show you how well I'm doing. Anyway, I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart for reaching out to me, for your comments and people who sent emails. I want to thank you really from the bottom of my heart. It means so much, and I read them all. I didn't even like heart them. I don't even know if I could. I've never used a community page before, but anyway. But I've just been you know, not doing well, so it's hard for me to even like do anything. I don't really like want to talk to anybody or anything, but I wanted to. Oh, and one thing that I did want to say is CH, who left a comment on the community page also, who lost her mom from this. I want to send my condolences because it's so, all right, I know I don't know how to say it, and I'm hesitant to say it because I don't want you to think that I'm acting. I don't want any of you to think that I'm acting like I'm the only one or going through some unique situation, because I know I'm not. And I know it's not unique. It's one of the worst parts of it. And then one of you left a comment. I don't remember who it was, but it was really quite perfect. And it said, you know, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I'm sorry that you have to deal with this like in a time of war. And that was perfect. I even told my mom that comment. The sun is all annoying. I'm sorry, guys. But in case any of you don't know, what the hell? This is horrible. I'm sorry. Oh, stop. In case any of you don't know yet, so my grandfather passed away. We found out very early on Saturday morning. And it's been pretty bad. So I spent all of Saturday going around with my mom trying to make whatever arrangements we could make. Sunday was Easter, and that was, you know, rough to begin with because you're not with your family like you usually are, but then on top of that, so it was a tough day. But whatever, honestly, it was just another day at this point. And start up Monday morning, we you know, got back to more planning for the arrangements. So I'm very fortunate that I feel very, 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 very fortunate that we can even have any type of anything for my grandfather. I'm sorry, guys. It's gonna be really hard. My grandfather was a deeply, 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 deeply religious man. And I know that the most important thing to him would have been having a priest there. So the priest will be there at the burial, so that's really imperative. So I'm very grateful for that. And we can have 10 people, a max of 10 people, 6 feet apart, you know. We are gonna the the funeral the funeral director said that basically the way it's going to work is you have to pull up with your cars and stay in your cars until the undertakers remove the casket from the hearse and place it in its spot at the gravesite, and then you have to wait until they get back in the car and leave until they're completely gone for their safety, and then you can get out of your car. So that's good. He said that the funeral director was telling us that at the military cemetery out here, he said they're not allowing anything anymore. No services, no nothing. Because he said that they're doing 40 burials a day and they just can't keep up. So they're just burying them at the gravesite themselves, and that's it. And then when this is over, you can go visit, or whatever. So like I said, I feel very fortunate that we can even do anything. My mom, we were a mess, we went there on Saturday morning, like I said, and I hope this lighting is okay. I can't even tell, and the sun keeps moving. Oh God, I don't have the patience for this right now. So we went there Saturday morning, just a couple of hours after we found out. We were at the funeral home, and so disclaimer, this might get a little raw or real to some people, so if you don't want to hear this, or it might trigger anything for you, I'm just warning you right now. It's nothing like graphic, but it's disturbing. So in the midst of making all our plans and everything, we asked about clothes, because we did actually grab a suit, my grandfather's suit, out of the closet, because to bring it there. My mom's like, oh, well, I don't know if we bring it now, so whatever, we'll just ask, because the funeral home's very close to my mom's house anyway. And so while we were there, we asked if, we're like, what about the clothes? When do we bring you the clothes? So the funeral director said, I'm going to be totally honest with you. He's like, with everything that's going on right now, we're not dressing them. So he's like, if you have anything that you want to be placed in the casket, if you want it to be buried with him, we'll put an outfit in. It's just a suit. It's not like military attire, you know what I'm saying? It's just a suit. So we don't care about that. But he did then go on to say, that it's just too risky to dress them, because you literally have to be right over the body. So he said that my grandfather arrived in a body bag, and he will remain in a body bag. And he'll be put in his casket in a body bag. Like I said, I'm not in any way trying to act like this is unique, or that I'm the only one, or I'm alone in this. Because the truth of the matter is, I'm absolutely not. And like I said, in many ways, I feel very fortunate that we get to have anything. And do anything. Because that's a lot better than other people's situations. So the funeral is going to be Friday. It's really hard watching my mom so upset. And she feels very guilty, and she feels like she could have done something differently. And it's just horrible, So I want to tell you a little bit about the whole situation if you care to hear it, because I am most definitely going to look into any legal claims of any lawsuits that I can file. Minimally for negligence, possibly wrongful death, who knows. And I do not believe that just because of someone's advanced age, that is an immediate disregard and death sentence. I do not believe that. I have many people in my family and my husband's family who live to 98, 99, like, you know? And obviously, I'm not dumb. I know that old people do die. Everybody dies. Young people die. Everybody dies. Every living thing dies. I understand that. It is the circumstance in which my grandfather died that just, I cannot. I've been praying every single day for peace and acceptance. First off, he died alone. He died completely alone, and he died horrified. Again, I know this is not a unique situation. This is just how real this is right now. For hundreds of thousands of people. So, I'll start you a little ways back, okay? If you care to hear this. This is what this video is. And if anybody has any input, please leave it in the comments. That would be great, because I know a lot of you have different backgrounds and a whole bunch of different things. I am a criminal attorney for the most part. I can venture out and do some family law stuff, but this negligence and medical malpractice is not my thing. I can make it my thing though, but I don't know. So we'll see. But anyway, so if you know anything, please feel free to chime in. I would appreciate it. So my grandfather was at an assisted living facility, not a nursing home, an assisted living facility. It was a very nice place. My mom used to pick him up all the time, and he used to, you know, spend time with us all the time. She would take him out to lunch, take him out for coffee. It was great. My mom gets a phone call. We're probably about, what, 6 weeks out now? 8 weeks out, something like that. She gets a phone call one night from the place that they took him by ambulance to the emergency room at the hospital because he was complaining of chest pains. So we're like, what? You know, we got scared. So my mom goes to the ER, obviously, and everything. Well, the ER doctor says that his blood pressure was like super high. It was like 230, 240 over something, I don't even know. So the ER doctor said that he's going to assume that the chest pains was because his blood pressure got so elevated. The ER doctor then immediately got his records from the assisted living facility, and come to find out that the assisted living facility did not have my grandfather's blood pressure medication on his medications list, so he wasn't even getting it. Okay. Causation in the chain of events, number one. So then the ER doctor gets my grandfather blood pressure medication and all this. So then they see that my grandfather, there's going to be a little bit of graphic medical stuff here if anybody has a problem. Nothing, no blood, no guts, no nothing, but they see that my grandfather's having a hard time fully evacuating his urine, and that there's just some problem there. So they do some sonograms and stuff like that. They see that his prostate is enlarged. But they don't know what's causing it. They saw something on his kidney. They were like some type of mass, but they weren't sure. It turns out that was fine. It was going to go away on its own. So they said that. So they ended up putting a catheter in, a Foley, something to that effect. And so he had like the urine bag. And they needed him to go be evaluated by the urologist do whatever tests it is. You know, they do evacuation tests. I don't know what it is. So he has, and the hospital said he can't stay here. I'm sorry, backtrack. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really a mess. The first available appointment with the urologist was like 2 weeks out. That was the soonest one they could get. And they're like, he can't stay at the hospital just for 2 weeks, like waiting for an appointment, like when he, you know, he doesn't have to be here. So unfortunately, the problem with that was that his assisted living facility would not take him with a bag. They weren't that type of place, you know, they weren't a nursing home, so they couldn't take him with a bag. So we had to find a rehab facility to keep him at with the bag just until the urology appointment. Okay. Now comes the rehab facility, this last place. This is the end of the road. Little did we know. So, the doctor there ran some blood work on my grandfather and there's only one doctor for the entire place, tells my mom that my grandfather's blood work looks really bad. No real specifics. Looks bad, and that basically he's gonna die. And that my mom should tell the family and get everything ready, and that they will just, at the rehab facility, keep him comfortable. My mom's like, what? What are you talking about? Complete shock. My aunt flies up from Texas, because we're like, what is happening? Oh my God. And this is still when everything was relatively normal, like in the world. Corona was already out there, definitely. There was cases in the US, you know, but it was still relatively normal. So we talked to my uncle in Florida too, where my grandfather he used to stay with my uncle in Florida before he came to New York to stay with my mom. And my uncle was like, you know, are they giving him his like plasma infusions, like his plasma injections and all this stuff he used to get, like iron injections, plasma infusions, all this stuff. So my mom talks to the nurses at the rehab facility. She's like, look at his records, get his records, give him what he needs, da-da-da. So they do. The nurse gets him everything he needs, and he got whatever his injections were, I don't know. And he became a brand new man the same day. Then they redid blood work or something, and they said the blood work has improved. It's improving. Okay, so I guess he's not dying? I don't know. Like, nobody ever said anything, okay? Then my grandfather was like, fine. He was like my usual grandfather. However, he had multiple falls while at this place. He kept falling. In the beginning, they put him on a chair alarm, like I think a wheelchair alarm. I don't even know. But he never had a bed alarm, I don't think. There was no rails put up on his bed. There's no rails on the bed. And then there was no added rails ever put on. There's something in New York. I tried to look into it. I don't see it. But allegedly, my mom said at the ER, the doctor told her that they can't use rails anymore because it's like entrapment or something. But I was like reading and I couldn't find it. It said it like totally depends on the situation and what type of rails and da-da-da. And it's like proper care. Like if somebody's a fall risk. I don't know. And there's like half rails and one side rails. Whole nother story. Yes and no, right? So come, kind of backtracking a little bit, but not, come the day of his urology appointment. This is at the same time that my aunt is up here from Texas. So my aunt and my mom go to the rehab facility, and they're like, okay, the urology appointment is today, da-da-da. That's why he's here. It's the whole purpose of why he was at this place. No, they didn't know about it. They had no transportation set up. They had nothing, like nothing. And basically their final word was no, not happening today, sorry. So my mom and my aunt were absolutely furious. So my mom was like, you better set everything up for tomorrow so I can bring him to his urology appointment, because that's the whole point, da da da. So they're like, yeah. My mom and my aunt go back the next day. Well, guess what? Spoiler alert, still nothing. Whoever was on then, oh, I didn't know. We have nothing. We have no transportation set up. No, he's not going. So my mom and my aunt flipped, basically. End of the story, they're like, we're taking him. And, you know, they warn them, if anything happens to him while we're taking him, we're holding you accountable. Because you didn't do what you're supposed to do. So my mom and my aunt end up taking him to urology. I don't even know what urology did, but they said that there had to be some evacuation tests done. And that possibly the rehab facility could do it. And if the evacuation test was good, the bag could be removed, and great. Okay. My mom and my aunt bring my grandfather back after the urology appointment, and it was at that very minute, as they entered, that they were told there's no more visitors allowed. It was the last time anybody saw my grandfather in person. A day or two later, they did the evacuation test, and he was fine, and he had the bag removed. So he could have technically been anywhere else at that point. Home, back at his assisted living facility, I don't know. A few days after that, my mom gets a phone call and emails and a whole bunch of stuff from his assisted living facility, which he's no longer at right now, that they had a case of COVID and that they're, you know, super quarantined and isolated and they have it under control and all this stuff. So my mom's like, wow. And at that point, naive us, oh, wow, good thing he's not there. So, they were doing video calls with us through Google Duo. So at least we were able to do that for a while. They stopped all that on April 2nd for some reason. They just stopped caring. They stopped fulfilling requests. They stopped doing anything. So nobody actually physically saw my grandfather, even through a video call, since April 2nd. In the last week of his life, he fell twice. He also, we're told on like Monday, this past Monday, that he had a fever. My mom told me, I said, what? Why does he have a fever? Nobody's allowed in there. He doesn't go anywhere. Why does he have a fever? And he had fallen also that day, pretty badly. He started complaining that his back hurt and his hips hurt. So the nurse gave him Tylenol. Nurse gives him Tylenol and tells my mom, because my mom's like, I want him to see the doctor. You know, what is going on? I want, what's happening? I want him tested for something. Like, why does he have a fever? So then this was the nurse's exact words. No disrespect to any nurses out there, because I know there's a lot. We're going to give him Tylenol. And if the fever doesn't go down, we're going to call the doctor. What do you think the Tylenol is going to do exactly? That was like one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I mean, I know. The chronic, non-breaking fevers, yes, I get that. That's like that's bad. But normally, you have a fever, if you take any type of that stuff, it's going to lower, at least a little, right? Like, that's why you're taking it. Anyway, okay. So, allegedly, they say he got better. My mom was, like, trying to call my grandfather. He wasn't picking up, and my mom ended up talking to his roommate, which was great. And I just found out the other day, because I pictured another, like, old man. My mom told me his roommate's only like 45 years old, 50 years old max, and he's there for, he needs some other infusions because he has like a blood thing. So he's a young, with it, Man. So the roommate tells my mom that my grandfather has been burning up for days and days and days. My mom's like, they told me his fever, he didn't have a fever anymore. And his roommate's like, they are lying to you. They are lying to you. Then my mom would talk to my grandfather. He felt absolutely awful. He was just absolutely miserable. He hadn't eaten in days. And the roommate, my mom was talking to the roommate again 3 days in. He's like, he hasn't eaten in 3 or 4 days. He was like all upset. This wonderful, wonderful guy. And the roommate's like, they put the food there. They don't even like check on him. He can't even like reach it. He doesn't like. So my mom said, can you please do me a favor? I'm sorry I ask this of you. Can you please move his food closer to him and uncover it and see? So he did. And my grandfather ate everything. He said he ate everything, even down to his Jell-O. My mom talked to the nurse. The nurse alleged, no, he's eating. He ate, you know. And then another time she alleged she sat with him and fed him and he ate. My grandfather was saying he wasn't eating, and so was the roommate, kind of. Then my grandfather falls again. The roommate said he like fell forward out of the bed. Hit his elbow really bad. The nurse said they're gonna do an x-ray or something to see if the elbow's broken. My mom, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. My mom, when he had the fever and all this stuff, you know, of course I was like, are they gonna like test him for COVID? Are they gonna see, like, I don't understand this. So I don't know if there was a misunderstanding between what my mom heard or whatever, but my mom said that they told her that they did. Because they did blood work on Friday. They were waiting for the blood results. And then they said that they tested him. So I told my mom, I said, did he say anything about the test? Because I feel like he would have, you know, because the test is pretty extreme. I was like, I feel like he would have told you something about like the test. My mom's like, no, he didn't. Okay. Somewhere along these conversations, the nurse tells my mom, well, we do have a case of COVID. My mom said, what? I'm sorry, what? The nurse goes, oh yeah. So my mom's like, how come I'm unaware of this? Why were we not told? So the nurse looks through his file and allegedly says, oh, there's a note in the file, yeah, that the social worker called you on March 13th and had a long conversation with you and also discussed your resources. My mom's like, nobody called me. So we started asking the other family members, just my aunt and my uncle, the phone numbers that the rehab facility had. We're like, did you get a call and talk to anybody? They're like, no. Then my mom actually talked to the social worker. And she's like, the nurse told me that there's notes. And the social worker's like, no, I didn't call you. I sent letters. And my mom's like, well, okay. What address did you send the letter to? Then the social worker goes, well, I didn't send the letters. Administration sent the letters. Another spoiler alert. There's no letter. My mom even went and picked up the mail at the assisted living facility. And there was a few letters from this rehab facility, none of which included there being any COVID in there. Then the night before my grandfather dies, on Friday night, my mom speaks to him at 6:30. My uncle speaks to him at 8. He's telling my mom at 6:30 that this is not a life and it's his time and all this stuff. My mom's like, no, just be patient. I'm gonna get you tested and I'm gonna get you out of there and you're gonna, come back home and all this. And he's like, okay. And then he talks to my uncle at 8 o'clock and my uncle's like, we'll go to Greece. And my grandfather's like, no, I want to come to Florida with you. I like Florida. So he's like, all right, we'll go to, you come to Florida with me again. And then my other uncle gets a phone call at 7:15 in the morning that my grandfather died. After my mom got off the phone with him at 6:30, she spoke to his nurse. She's like, he says he's, he wants to die, and that this isn't. The nurse goes, oh no, he shouldn't be feeling that way. Maybe what he's on for the pain isn't strong enough. I'm gonna talk to the doctor, see if we can get him something stronger. Da da da. Also, my mom like tried to talk to the doctor for a full week and never got anything from anybody. I was reading some articles online from other rehab facilities where the staff was telling family members that the doctor hadn't been on site for 5 or 6 days. So, in that conversation with the nurse tells my mom, you know, because my mom's like, what is going on? Like, why does he feel so badly? And, you know, I want him to get tested for COVID. Like, what is going on? The nurse is like, well, we're basically treating him like he has COVID. The treatment, Tylenol. And this was the nurse's exact words. Well, he's been exposed to so many people who have it. I'm sorry, what? Just like that. Okay. Also, mind you, this poor roommate of his is in a room with this man who they're allegedly treating like he has COVID. I'm at an absolute loss for words, okay? My mom speaks to the roommate the next night, which I don't know if she should have or not. But she did. And apparently my grandfather was crossing himself all night and calling my mom's name. The roommate also says that my grandfather was coughing a lot, having a hard time breathing, and they hooked him up to oxygen. And even the roommate was like, why didn't they put him on a nebulizer treatment like they did, you know, like when he first got here? Why did they just give him oxygen? He was all upset. I want to know, why didn't they like call one of us to say that he had a hard time breathing and they were putting him on oxygen? Like, that seems pretty significant in my opinion. They told us nothing. The roommate also said that my grandfather stopped talking. He stopped hearing him at 5 a.m. The nurse that my mom already had a problem with, because she said anytime she was there, he didn't even look up from his phone and had absolutely not a care in the world. My mom had already complained about him, and of course they stuck up for him. No, really, he's usually really good. He alleged my grandfather died at about 7:05, 7:10, and he called my uncle at 7:15. I kind of believe the roommate, and I kind of think that my grandfather died at 5 o'clock. And if that's, you have an elderly person who you're treating like they have COVID, they're having trouble breathing, you put them on oxygen, and there's over a 2-hour span, God knows how long before that, that you didn't even check on them. Anyway, that was the end of my grandfather's life. And it's just really heartbreaking, you know, to just, then again, not unique, you know, but to fight in World War II, to be a coal miner, to live through so much. You know, he survived so many medical things in his life too, earlier on, and then just for it to end like that. And we all truly believe that if he was at home or elsewhere, he'd be alive. And I know that's how a lot of people feel with their loved ones right now, and it's absolutely fucking heartbreaking. The next day after my grandfather dies, I see an article about a New Jersey nursing home where, on a tip, authorities went and found 17 bodies piled up in a makeshift morgue, which were previously in a shed. And the families didn't even know. My mom's been calling since Saturday to get my grandfather's belongings. And she's spoken to people and everything. And nobody will even collect his stuff. His roommate said his wallet is still on the nightstand They've done nothing. Absolutely nothing. And he will be buried in a body bag. So that's the real truth. That's really what's going on out there, you know. And I'm so sorry to everyone, CH as well, you know. Who's this is it. And it's different when things take their natural course. This just doesn't feel natural. It's just not right. Oh, and to add insult to injury, I was on the phone with my friend, my lawyer friend. We were kind of doing some legal brainstorming. And just out of curiosity, she goes, how big is this place? So I went on their website, because you know how normally on pages it says like, you know, so-and-so is a blank bed facility. So you'll see a number, whatever, 112 bed facility, something. So I go to their website to look for that. I didn't find that, but what I did find is a big orange box on their homepage about how for safety, there's no more visitors, you know, on March 9th or something. My mom is also, side note, my mom is kicking herself for not taking him home that day when they brought him back from his urology appointment. And if she did, he'd probably still be alive. But anyway, big orange box. As of March 8th, March 9th, we're not allowing any visitors. We do not have any COVID-19 cases, however. We're just doing this to keep everybody safe. Today, on their website, it's still there. And through my legal education and some of my research, I know that when a facility accepts Medicaid, they have federal regulations. When I took healthcare law in law school, I always remember thinking, every time I'd learn about it, I was like, damn, Medicaid is like the mafia of healthcare. I love it. You know, very, very, very strict guidelines. Like if you're gonna accept Medicaid, you're gonna take everything that comes along with it, and they are gangster. So they have super, super strict F-tags, federal regulations that came along with this. And I have a feeling that this place did absolutely none of them. And that's that. But their website today still says they have no COVID-19. No phone call, no letter, no nothing. I don't even know if the patients in there know. I don't even know if the beautiful man who is my grandfather's roommate, who cared more about him than the people who work there, knows that his roommate may or may not have had it. I will never know. We will never know what killed my grandfather. We will never know if they gave him a extra shot of morphine to off him because he was annoying and he complained a lot. We will never know if they gave him a double dose of insulin to off him because he was annoying. We will never know if he hit his head when he fell one of those times and that killed him, or if he had internal bleeding, or we will never know. This is the longest I've ever talked in my life. Well, that's not true. I taught for an hour and 15 minutes at a clip, but it's definitely my longest video, and it's definitely more than I've spoken in a week. Or since Saturday morning. So, I'm just trying to hang in there right now and get through Friday and see if and what can be done legally, because this is not okay. And wrongful death lawsuits have already started with nursing homes. My lawyer friend was like, you might just want to wait a minute because I feel class actions coming on. And I'm like, yeah, true. But then I also read that the statute of limitations for wrongful death suits is like between 30 and 60 days, depending on your state or something, of when the death happened. I'm like, wow, that's the shortest statute of limitations I've ever heard of. I don't know if that's right or not. But anyway, this video is ridiculously long. So I'm gonna get ready to go to the doctor now. I do have an LTD Commodities haul pre-recorded for you that I recorded like last Thursday when life was different than this. My car is absolutely stock full of Dollar Tree stuff from last week's haul. It's been in there for over a week now. I don't know when I'm gonna film it, but I'll film it at some point. But I just wanted to come on here, tell you guys everything, tell you what's going on in the world, send my condolences to everybody who's going through this too, and thank all of you for all of your support and all of your comments and all of your emails, and I really do appreciate it. So it does help me get through this. So I thank you all very, very much, and I'll see you when I can, but I do have a pre-recorded haul for you. All right, until the next video, stay blessed, my friends. Hug your loved ones a little tighter, the ones you're allowed near, and just stay safe.